And a good Sunday morning to you. I'm Andrea Oliver. Welcome to this edition of Polk County Today. So by now, we're probably, for many of us, having the visions of Sugar Plum Fairy. It's probably still a little too warm to have chestnuts roasting on the fire, but certainly in a couple of days, for sure, we're going to be roasting something on the fire. We're looking to Thanksgiving here, and for many of us, the festive time has officially kicked in. We're getting the shopping done. We're looking forward to the great meal, and for many, the great company, families coming over. Today's program, however, is going to focus on the other side of the holiday, the side that involves people coming over, yes, sharing a big meal, yes, but it's not always fun. And you're wondering, when are they going to leave? Or how is Uncle so-and-so going to be this time? And is Mom going to get on top of my nerves again? And is Dad going to harp on me about my lifestyle? We're going to give you some timely tips today to not only get through the holiday season, but deal with those difficult relationships beyond. Sitting in front of me again on this Sunday, my great coach and friend, Emily Rogers. She's a professional life coach, an executive coach, a business consultant and leadership development trainer. And if I might say so, the guru on relationship and relationship challenges. Emily, it is so good to have you as guest on Polk County Today once again.
Good morning, Andrea. It is so good to be with you and your listeners on this Sunday before Thanksgiving.
Yes. So I know you've been very busy, and so if you can just quick catch me up before we get into the subject matter. You've been working with a number of groups and teams across the area. How has the year been?
Yes, it's been a wonderful year working with my individual clients, my business clients, hosting leadership workshops and wellness retreats, as you know. It's been a delightful year, and I'm looking forward to the holidays.
Of course you are. And I know that wherever you go, you want people to walk away from sessions with you feeling they've accomplished something, they've learned something, they can put something into practice. What has been most surprising to you as you have this year worked with different groups and different teams?
Yeah, so oftentimes it's, what I want my clients to walk away with is just sometimes some real simple takeaways about, how to create more balance in their life and their work, or how to collaborate better with teams. And it doesn't have to be difficult or revolutionary, sometimes just small shifts and how we're approaching a situation
I like that.
Can make a big difference. And so that's what I want your listeners to take away today. Or what are some small shifts that they can make and how they're approaching some challenging situations and relationships during the holidays, and walk away feeling better and feeling like they've thrived through this holiday season versus just survived.
Ah, yes. Thrive versus survive. That is the theme, I think, of what we want to accomplish here today. So the scenario, yes, we are looking forward to a very busy time of year. We're dealing with a number of variables. Many times we're traveling to be with family, or have a family planning to be here, a family, and sometimes even friends. And sometimes it's unavoidable, the group that we find ourselves in, because as I heard someone wisely say years ago, we choose our friends, not our family. And so we are going to, many times over holiday seasons, and as we mentioned, upcoming Thanksgiving, get in a group or be with people that they're related to us by blood, but very little else. And I know they say blood is thicker than water, but we try our best to avoid these people most part of the year. Many times people just do what I call the defeatist method, and what they'll do is they'll just turn the invitation down. And it's because they don't know how to thrive in that situation. So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the beginning for me would be what happens before you even get to this family gathering. So what are some of the things you would suggest?
Yeah, as you were saying, the holidays in general are just a stressful time. We're out of our usual routine. Oftentimes we're traveling. Our calendars are full of events. And our healthy eating habits might be slipping. We're not getting as much exercise as usual.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. And, so just that in and of itself creates stress. So just be aware of that. So before you go into these situations, make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Very good idea.
Okay. And that's really simple. Get enough sleep, continue your healthy eating habits, get enough exercise, and just take care of yourself before you go into these situations.
And that will do what, Emily?
Yeah, that will, for me, I find that centers and grounds me. And increases my capacity to deal with stressors. And life and work and family brings stressors. It's just part of what we get, as human beings. And if we're taking care of ourselves, and we're staying healthy mentally and physically, then we have a greater capacity to deal with those stressors and be less reactive.
So then you're saying at this time of year is not the time to get lax about looking after you. I mean, I know it can sound cliche about taking care of number one, but you're saying at this time of the year, we really need to amp that up because as much as we are grounded, much as we are centered, it will allow us to have a different outlook or just be able to handle that outlook in a more positive light if we are doing some positive things for ourselves.
Absolutely. It absolutely helps with outlook and our perspective on these situations when we find ourselves there.
We're talking today with Emily Rogers. She is a professional life coach. And in studio today, we're hoping to tackle that very present issue of grandma's coming to dinner, or over the hills and over the dale and to grandma's house we go, or wherever we find ourselves over the holiday season that might be and can be stressful for us. And so we've made the trip, we've fought through the busy airport or long drive maybe, and we're there, and sometimes we're secretly hoping Uncle so-and-so does not show up because Uncle so-and-so has many issues and his mouth is foul and et cetera, but we burst through the door and there he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that point about bursting through the door is an incredibly important one.
Oh, really?
Because I believe that before we walk in that door, it's very important to pause and set an intention.
Explore that with me.
Set an intention. What is it that we want to create for ourselves and others in this situation?
Wow.
And be very purposeful about that.
So you're saying if this individual annoys you, bothers you world without end, you can do what?
You can be purposeful and intentional about how you interact with that person and others around that person. And you can also be mindful about how you might be reacting to a certain situation. So before you walk in the door, as you're setting your intention, it's as if you're designing an alliance with yourself to say, okay, Uncle so-and-so might be here and he might trigger, this emotion in me. And that's very likely to happen. How am I going to choose to be in that moment?
Yes.
And so designing an alliance with yourself that serves you, serves the relationship with the crazy uncle to the extent that you can, and serves the situation. And, in moments like that, we're so caught up in ourselves and our own emotions and how we're reacting to a situation or a person that we lose sight of the fact that there are others in that space with us that are being impacted by this difficult relationship.
One of the things that I know a lot of people says that they have to deal with at this time of year is the constant onslaught of questions about their personal life in a very public space, and it can range to when you're getting married, to when you're going to have another child, to political views, and et cetera, et cetera. And so these are usually very weighty and can be very challenging, I think, if you're not sure how to proceed. So what, or how should you respond when you're faced with questions or things that just might be very offsetting and can cause arguments? How do you deal with that?
Sure, yeah. Again, as you walk into these situations, if you've been around these family members or these folks before, you can kind of anticipate what might bubble up. And again, just be purposeful and intentional about how you're choosing to respond and what you're choosing to say and what you're choosing to share and not share. Just because you're asked a question doesn't mean that you have to give an answer.
Good.
You can guide the conversation. You can choose what you want to be in dialogue about and what you don't. And another thing that I find helpful in situations like that is to have an ally in the room with you. And it might be an alliance that you design in advance with a sibling or your mom or somebody else.
So you say, Uncle so-and-so is going to be there, and you know how he gets da-da-da-da-da when we get da-da-da-da-da. So I need you to do what?
I need you to create a safe space for me or come rescue me when you see it getting uncomfortable.
Very good.
And that can be so helpful.
So you're saying garner help, ask for help.
Absolutely. Get some allies in the situation and get somebody to pull Uncle so-and-so to the side and distract him with some other topic, that's livelier and more fun than about what's going on in your world that may not be so lively and fun.
It seems to me that not only can we put these in practice during the holiday season, Emily, but that we can use this, all the wonderful ideas that you're sharing throughout the year, because dealing with difficult people is not relegated to a time of year.
You're exactly right. It's life. It comes up in family situations and day-to-day situations and work situations, and it's just something we all have to deal with. It's human nature.
Yes.
We're not perfect. Sometimes we're on the receiving end and sometimes we're on the giving end, and it's just part of who we are as human beings. And absolutely, I do want your listeners to walk away with, how can they handle the holidays, but also how can they be in more productive relationships with people throughout the year that is joyful and not depleting.
Emily Rogers is our guest today. She is a professional life coach, and we're talking about specifically today, getting through the holiday season, dealing with our family members and situations that might not always be pleasant, but we can really curtail and if we have some plans in place, really thrive, she says, and not only survive. I do want to address those situations that might include violence or illegal behavior. Is there a time when it's okay to say, I am not going to put myself in this situation?
Absolutely. This is a time, particular during the holidays, to make conscious choice about who you're spending time with and how you're showing up in the world and the things that you're choosing to commit to and not commit to. And absolutely, if there is a dangerous or a toxic situation that you can avoid, absolutely protect yourself and your family and don't put yourself in those situations.
How do you get that across? Is it something you have to say to every family member, or is it something that you're going to say to whoever invited you? Or how are you dealing with, how do you finesse this?
Yeah, one of my coaches taught me a great saying: say no to say yes. And what she meant by that for me, and what I've shared with others, is that when we're saying no to something, that means we're saying yes to something else that's more important and more meaningful. And so if we're saying no to being in a particular situation, that means we're saying yes to doing something more joyful during the holidays.
Oh my, that is so wonderful. Emily, we are plumb out of time. A joy always. You have given us a lot of food for thought today, and a lot of information that I'm sure that we'll be able to walk away with and apply during this very, very, what can be a fun time, but a challenging time time. Emily Rogers, so good to have you, and I trust you have a fabulous season, a great new year, and we'll no doubt talk soon again.
Thank you, Andrea. Happy holidays to you and your family.
Happy holidays. And thank you for joining us. We'll talk again next week.